Hello everybody, GamingMagic13 here.
And GroupUnicorn71.
And welcome back to more Halo Infinite Versus, where last time we finished up our adventures in the second area of the open world Zeta Halo and did the excavation site mission, and today we are going to be starting up the conservatory mission, which is not going to be a fun time. I am actively dreading playing this mission because, as some of you may know, from my legendary live stream I did back in January, I had a very painful time doing this. And when I did my original Let's Play of it back in December, I also had a very painful time with this mission, so I'm not really looking forward to this in any degree. I'm actually just kind of hoping to get this over with as fast as is physically possible, which is why you'll see me speeding through this, just using every grapple slide trick in the book that I know of to try to make this as seamless and as painless of experience as possible. Because for one thing, we have the skimmer wave defense room to look forward to, which is probably the biggest thing that I'm afraid of.
Again? Is that the Sentinel?
Yeah, they're the drone-looking things that soar through the air a little bit. They're basically just drone knockoffs that make things painful. There's that, and then there's a double scrap cannon fight that I just hate both those fights so much. But hey, if you're looking for a silver lining, we're actually gonna get 2 new equipment pieces today. Those being the drop wall and the thruster. So you know, when we're looking for positives, we have the drop wall to give us new cover whenever we need it, and we have the thruster, which will allow us to just evade gunfights, or evade projectiles rather, much easier than we ever did before. So at least it's not all bad, but I still want to get to this mission as fast as I possibly can, because the less time spent playing this
mission. I never used the thruster. I barely used it.
Really? Because
yeah, I saw it when I was watching your playthrough. You used it a lot. And I was like, holy, I didn't use this at all.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just because the thruster is really the main thing with the thruster is just that final upgrade where you get permanent, or not permanent, but temporary invisibility. That is so useful in the middle of gunfight to be able to just cloak yourself. That is.
Does it help though? Because
absolutely, yeah.
Whenever I used the thruster to go invisible, it like didn't do anything. It just like knew where I was and just shot where it was. So I just stopped using it. Like I think the only time I used it a lot was at the last boss fight because you have to like dodge him a bunch.
Maybe for the Eshram fight, I think he does tend to have to know where you are a little bit. For the rest of the battles in the game, the ability to just go invisible whenever you want is.
It's only 4 seconds, so it's.
But it's not necessarily about how long the time is; it's about how you use it. Because 4 seconds can mean everything in a 30-second gunfight. That's almost a sixth of it, which is a lot when you're in the.
Oh, there's a jackal sniper there. I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah, welcome to hell. That's the conservatory in a nutshell. It's only hell.
I forgot my BR. I thought this wouldn't be that labor intensive, but it's that labor intensive. So.
Yeah, it's the conservatory. It is the purest form of pain in a nutshell. Just jackal sniper. Really, I wouldn't even cite the. I mean, obviously the jackal snipers are annoying because, well, they're jackal snipers. But just I take bigger issue with the, like I said earlier, the skimmer wave defense room is just absolute torture, and then of course the final fight against those 2 brutes with giant scrap cannons that have an absurd amount of health. I have basically nothing but praise for this entire campaign. My only sticking points are the fact that the equipment switcher is terrible, vehicles are pathetic, and the conservatory mission is just bad. But hey, 1 mission out of 15 being bad, I'll take that. That means the rest, an overwhelming majority of the game is a lot of fun to play. So, you know, would I like this mission to be good? Of course, I don't want a bad mission, but it's the good heavily outweighs the bad in Infinite's campaign. And really, to expect it to have been a flawless ride might have been a bit naive of me. So, I mean, I didn't expect it to be a flawless ride, but it would have been naive to think that. So, I hate this mission. Nothing's gonna change that, but it doesn't negatively impact my experience playing this game in any significant way, which is good. So, that said, I am still speeding through this. As you can see, I'm just blitzing through at the speed of sound to minimize the amount of time I have to play this stupid mission for. Because I'm sure if I sunk enough time into it, like if I ever make a legendary walk of this game, which I've been considering, I could probably find strategies to make it painless, but I just have not had time to do that. So, yeah, I just haven't gotten the gist of that yet. Okay, so roughly how far into the conservatory mission are you so far? Would you say? Give a rough estimate of.
I'm in the room with the 3 jackal snipers and 1 turret.
Okay, I think I know what. I'm pretty sure that's the first major room where you're in. If you press down on D-pad, do you see 2 orange dots on either side of the room?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you're right, I think you are. You're in the first major confrontation. You're in the first major encounter of the mission, essentially. So we're still in early stages, which means we still have a long ways to go. I'm hoping that that doesn't take the entire video to get to the conservatory. Because I would, optimistically, I would really like to be able to clear out this entire, because once we leave the conservatory, there's going to be that little area outside that I think you visited in a previous episode. I usually always save this area, the area outside where the first spire pops up. I always save that for after I clear the conservatory. And I think you went there previously, just while exploring the open world to go get the Spartan core and everything that was waiting over there. So I would like to be able to clear out that entire area in this episode, and then that leaves me clear to go to the spire at the beginning of the next episode. I'm not planning on going to the top of Nosebleed Mountain. I'm just planning on taking out, I think Pronto Squad is the name of the squad that appears towards the to the southeast of the spire, and I want to try to go into that cave to get that Spartan core. I won't get the stuff that's like directly outside the spire, just because that's a bit of a to push through. To push through those enemies is going to be a nightmare to deal with, so I'm going to probably save that once I actually kill the hunters in the beginning of the next episode. My plan is to at least clear out the, to at least, I guess a better way to phrase it, I'm going to try to get to Fob Delta. I'm going to try, that's probably a more realistic goal, is to try to get to Fob...
So annoying. So annoying.
Yes, they are. To try to get to Fob Delta, take that back for myself, and then if I have time after that, then I'll go do a quick sweep of the area just to get that one Spartan core in the cave. Maybe the armor locker, and then maybe an audio logger too if I have time. Definitely Pronto Squad though. I also would definitely want to get Pronto Squad. That is definitely a high priority on my to-do list. I don't want the entire video to just be the conservatory, because that would make for a very, very painful video. And no one likes that. No one likes a video that's, because the last part of my second live stream was kind of a downer just because it was the excavation site, which I sucked at. That was all my fault. And then the conservatory, which was not my fault because I hate those last two encounters with every fiber of my being. Hey, maybe I should probably stop harping on this mission. Let's talk about something positive. Sonic Movie 2 trailer came out recently, which I don't know if you've... I doubt you've seen it because you haven't even watched the first Sonic movie, so I doubt you've seen the trailer for the second movie. Am I correct in saying that? Like have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, I would highly recommend you watch this because, well, actually, I was gonna say it's the best video game movie, but it depends on... Do you consider Wreck-It Ralph to be a video game movie?
Kind of, yeah. I think I'd say I would. Well, not really, not based off a video game, but the video game itself, so, yes.
Okay, I wouldn't, personally, I would not classify Wreck-It Ralph as a video game movie. I would classify it as a movie about video games, right? Because like you said, it's not based on any particular game. It has game references in there. You know, you'll see Bowser, you see Pac-Man, you see all these classic characters, and of course you see Sonic as a relevant reference in the movie. But it's not a movie that's trying to be an adaptation of of an already existing video game. It's telling a story about video games, and it feels like that. It doesn't feel like someone's like, hey, look at this popular game that everyone likes. What if we made a thing about that and tried to profit off of it? It's not like that. It's clearly a passionate love letter from the filmmakers who just love the medium of video games and want to tell a story in this landscape, in this digital landscape.
Not having a battle rifle just makes this mission 20 million times better.
I can't imagine you would probably have a tougher time if you didn't have that, yes. But as I was saying, the Wreck-It Ralph, I would consider it I wouldn't classify it as a video game movie, but if you were to classify it as a video game movie, then I think it would easily dethrone everything else by a factor of about 1 million, and it's not even close, which is why I don't tend to... I think it's just so much better than even the best of traditional video game movies. I don't even think it's fair to compare them in the same league. So, but so if you consider it a video game movie, then it's the best of the bunch. But what I was gonna say originally is, if you discount Wreck-It Ralph, then I think the original Sonic the Hedgehog movie is easily the best video game movie I have ever seen in my life. Which is, granted, not a very high bar because most of them are terrible. But you know what? It's still, I don't want it understated how much fun it was to watch that movie. And then, when I say that, I don't mean, like, fun as in it was just so bad it's a good movie. No. It was actually really, really well written, with compelling characters, and just, they understand Sonic. It, like, clearly understood what people love about Sonic and what makes the character so endearing when they wrote that movie. And I'm hoping the same will be true for the second movie. I'm hoping that it isn't just a crappy cash cow. I'm hoping it's really, really good. But, you know...
I'm finding the Mangler quite useful. I should have picked this up.
Yeah, the Mangler can really wreck some face. If I know you, in the first episode, you weren't...
I should have picked this up like 20 minutes ago. Wait, I need shield settings.
Weren't too fond of it because of its role in the competitive landscape of Halo Infinite, but in campaign, not something to be slept on, let me tell you. A Mangler is not a weapon to be slept on in the multiplayer of Halo Infinite. Yeah, so, what was I just lost my train of thought. Alright, so, yeah, Sonic, this first Sonic movie's great. I have high hopes for the sequel. I'm hoping, because they're going to introduce Tails and Knuckles into it as well, which could either go really, really well or really, really poorly. I mean, hey, they got the voice actress who does Tails in the games for the movie, which is cool. Don't know how I feel about Idris Elba as Knuckles. That is going to be, I don't know if I'm fully sold on that one yet. I'll have to wait till the movie comes out to see how that plays out, but I'm just hoping it ends up being good, because there's a chance that it could just go down the rabbit hole. There's a chance it could absolutely fall apart at the seams and ruin all the good grace that had been built up by the first movie. But I'm hoping that's not the case, because I do care about Sonic. Just, I mean, he's had some rough games here and there, but I do still care about the little blue guy. I mean, one of the first video game that I ever played was the original Sonic the Hedgehog, so I really care about the little guy, and I want to see him do well in the future, because the last mainstream game that he had that came out was Sonic Forces, which, from what I've heard and from what little I've played, is not all that great. So, yeah, but I'm happy that the first movie was as widely positively received as it was. I'm hoping the second movie will, even if it's not the best thing, because here's the thing is, the first Sonic movie isn't like some pinnacle of cinema. It's like a solid 6 out of 10, but I still enjoyed it a lot, even with that in mind, just because, like I said, they clearly understand what makes Sonic great, and every ounce of passion the writers had for this character is poured into every second of the script, or every second of the film. So, if it can at least hit the same standard as the first movie, that will satisfy me. It doesn't need to be some groundbreaking storytelling. It just needs to be... It needs to hit the heights of the first movie, and if it does that, then I'll be happy. And hey, if it manages to go above and beyond the heights of the first movie, like if it actually reaches a higher score, and somehow makes me feel even happier than the first movie did, then that will be worthy of commendation if it manages to do that, because, man, the first movie really, really blew me away with how surprisingly good it was. So, yeah, my hopes are very high for this sequel and how it plays out. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, actually. I think they might have had another Sonic game called Team Sonic Racing, but I mean, I guess that's why I made the distinction of mainline Sonic game, because that is technically another Sonic game that had come out, but it's a spin-off racing title, not quite the same thing as a mainline release. And I mean, it's kind of why I'm really nervous about what Frontiers is going to be, because it's like I said, Sonic's recent track record has been less than stellar. So I mean, from what we saw at the Game Awards, it looks like it's going to be the Breath of the Wild of the Sonic franchise, which could either go really, really well or really, really poorly. And there really is no in between. I don't think I
should probably use a skew for this.
It has the potential to be a really great game, but I'm not yet. We had to see more. I'm guessing at E3. Well, I mean, not E3 because E3 is canceled, but I'm guessing doing whatever means through which they show off whichever of the showcases gets the chance to show off the new Sonic trailer during the E3 chunk of time this summer. I'll have to wait until then to see for sure. Anyway, the conservatory is going actually way better than I expected, whereas every time until this point has been a purely painful experience. I'm kind of surprised it's been going this well.
I've only played it once, so...
Yeah, well, of the multiple times I've played it, it has been a consistently miserable experience, and I'm very, very happy that it seems to be going way better this time. I mean, it's still not going great. I guess it's probably going as best as it could be. Granted, I'm also trying to... I'm not skipping enemies, because one of our rules is no skipping enemies. I am just trying to get through it as... I'm trying to clear out the rooms in as aggressive and fast as a way as I can, which I'm honestly surprised hasn't gotten me killed yet. I'm very surprised that this has not gotten me killed, because I didn't really prepare for this mission whatsoever. I took no time to actually prepare a proper loadout for this mission, so I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants with what I had left over from the excavation site mission, so there was no preparation that went into this at all, so I'm kind of surprised it's going as well as it is right now.
Yeah, I didn't prepare at all for this mission too. I would really, really like a battle rifle.
Yeah, you know, now I think about it, what I should have done is I should have just fast traveled back to one of the fobs and gotten a weapon from there. I should have gone to one of the fobs and got a new loadout before I came into the conservatory. In fact, something else I could have tried. I could have tried bringing Marines with me into the conservatory.
You could try that one, yeah, or whenever your next playthrough is. Yeah, I was gonna say co-op, but co-op's really far away. So.
Well, I guess it depends, because currently there's no official release date for when co-op is going to be. Well, they said it's going to come out during Season 2. I mean, hopefully this will be another one of those things that ages really poorly, and by the time this comes out, there will be a proper release date. But, yeah, that's one of the things that we don't actually know for sure. They said it's going to come out during Season 2 at some point, which I take that to mean I'm going to bet July. July is going to be where I place my bets for when it's going to come out, because they said it's going to be in the middle of Season 2, and I think Season 2 is going to last around 3 months, because, I mean, Season 1's lasted 6 because they clearly were not prepared. Something horrible must have happened at 343. The management of that company, from what I've heard, is an absolute disaster, so clearly something catastrophic has gone on behind the scenes to leave Infinite in the state that it is right now. Because, to be clear, the campaign team, they knocked it out of the ballpark. I love this game so much. The story is so masterfully written, the gameplay is so much fun. But it's clear, it is crystal clear that there were some limitations with the development, and there's something behind the scenes of 343 that's resulted in a very mismanaged product. So that's kind of why season 1 has been as long as it is. But if Season 2 is going to be around 3 months long, and we expect it to launch sometime in the middle of it, I'm assuming that I'm going to go probably July, because it'll be right in the middle of summer, so there'll be more people that are able to jump back into the campaign. Because Infinite came out right when my winter break was underway, so it was the perfect time for me to be able to just tune out of the world for a week and just play nothing but Halo Infinite and just immerse myself in the beautiful world that is Zeta Halo. So I imagine they might be doing a similar thing where they're going to aim for a summer release to make sure as many people as possible are able to jump back into the campaign and give co-op a shot, which I'm really excited for. I'm really excited to be able to play through. I mean, I've already played through it multiple times since my initial playthrough, and I've loved it every time. In fact, I think I actually love it more. I mean, I hate the conservatory more, just because it's the conservatory, but the rest of the game, looking into more of, like, how the finer nuances of the story and analyzing it through a bit more, and, of course, just seeing all the different strategies you can do, all the different ways that you can approach every encounter, all the different weapon combos, unlocking everything, exploring all the secrets that Zeta Halo has to find. I love this campaign even more than I did the day that it came out, after my first playthrough, I should say. And I'm still looking forward, after all my playthroughs, I'm still looking forward to playing through it many more times in the future, and of course playing through it with you cooperatively. That's going to be an absolute blast. I can't wait to just tackle. I think the boss fights are going to be especially fun to do together. Especially because the Harbinger, for instance, we can put... Well, ordinarily you have 2 threat sensors, but with 2 of us we'll be able to have 4 threat sensors. And because there's 4 doors that spawn enemies, we can each put 2 threat sensors on 2 of the doors and be able to cover the entire room. So, that'll be awesome to see. And of course the Harbinger... Sorry, the Escherum. One of us can get the relays while the other one distracts Escherum and stuff like that. I'm so excited. I really wish the campaign launched co-op so we could have played through it together and experienced it for the first time. But all good things to those who wait. Good things are indeed worth waiting for. And I would rather them taking the extra time to make sure it's as polished as it can be, rather than rush it out the door and have it be lackluster. Because I mean, it never goes well. You can't come back from a feature that is rushed out the door and bugs to all hell. That has never gone well in the history of anything ever. I don't imagine it would be any different for Halo Infinite, so... And we still don't know anything about Forge. They said Forge is going to be Season 3, so... Probably... September. I'm going to guess we'll get it in around September-ish. Would be my prediction for when we get to play or not play, when we get to interact with it. Because I've never used Forge. I've never been a big Forge guy. I just don't use the tool for it. I don't make maps. I play the campaign, I play the modes, I don't make maps, so... But from what I've heard, I haven't read into any leaks because I just don't like the... Reading leaks is just a surefire way to get yourself spoiled on a whole lot of stuff. But I have heard through the grapevine that there's a lot of really interesting things cooking up for the Forge mode. Like, it's going to be a full-on, almost its own scripting engine, essentially, which is going to add so much freedom to the people who avidly use Forge. That is going to open up so many new avenues for making cool modes and maps, because Halo 5's Forge was already a massive step over the, like, leaps and bounds ahead of the previous Forge modes, with just multi-select and a bunch of other... I'm not a Forger, so I don't know all this stuff. Like, I'm not someone who uses Forge regularly, so I don't know the finer details, but I know that there's been a lot of major features that were added to Halo 5's Forge that the series had never previously seen. So to make it evolve from that and make it even more feature-rich, I'm so excited to see what becomes of it. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what people make with the new Forge mode. And just to see, I'll probably boot it up once when it comes out. Just to mess around with it and see how much more you can do, see how advanced it is. But I won't make anything just long term, just because that's not, I've never really been into that stuff. I've never done that, so. But I'm curious to check it out and see how it goes. So we will see what comes of that. But obviously,
Chief, that platform.
Of all the modes in Halo, I think Forge is probably the least important of them, to be honest with you. What matters most to me is obviously the campaign, because the story is what has...
Holy shit, this command, or whatever this gun is, the thingy with Robert.
The Ravager?
The Commando. Is it the Commando?
Well, it depends. Is it a semi-automatic UNSC weapon? Because if so, that's the Commando.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's the Commando.
Yeah, this is a pretty good gun.
It is, but...
I don't know why I like it. I didn't use it as much.
Well...
Really, this is such a bad checkpoint. I was messing around because I killed everything. Man.
Well, I'll say this much. Did you play the tech test when they came out?
I think so. Yeah, I think I played it. Yes.
Did you use the Commando when you played the tech tests, if you can remember?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay, you didn't. Okay, so... Yeah, so... The thing with the Commando and the tech test is that it seems like the Commando has gotten a significant nerf, because when they first came out with that, like when I played the tech test, I used the Commando in both of them, and it was a really powerful gun. It was really, really good, and I still get a lot of use out of it in campaign and occasionally in multiplayer. But it seems clear its damage output and accuracy compared to how it is in the tech test is quite stark quite stark contrast to each other. Like, it is clearly not the gun it used to be in terms of its power, which is unfortunate. And I think even the Ravager, I mentioned that gun as well. I think even the Ravager got a pretty significant nerf when for the final release, which is unfortunate. Because I really would have liked to have the more powerful version of the weapons, but hey, in campaign they're great. In campaign, both the Ravager and Commando still absolutely shred, especially the upgraded high-value target versions of both those weapons. It just wish that in multiplayer they were a bit more useful than they are. But yeah, definitely don't sleep on the Commando. That is quite the weapon to use. Anyway, I completely lost my train of thought for what we were even talking about beforehand, so
Yeah, I died about 5 million times after I said I like the Commando.
Well, the Conservatory will do that to you.
I don't know.
Cannot defeat the absolute brutal nature of the Conservatory mission. Although I will say, I'm kind of pleasantly surprised by just how well my experience with this mission went.
I died like 20 million times to the same guy. Because he's just annoying.
Yeah, I don't blame you. like I said, the conservatory is just maximum pain and suffering. Well, I mean, at least that's what it should have been, but for some reason I had my run through everything.
I was messing around. I thought I got a checkpoint.
My run through everything strat seemed to actually work out rather well in terms of just the raw aggression it required to clear things out in as efficient a manner as possible. So, no complaints from me, because really the conservatory was what I was most
when I headshot you, die, please. Jesus Christ.
Worried about while thinking about the series, and just having to do this mission under pressure is what was really worrying me. Also, so I just got sent something, and so yeah, you know the Halo show that's coming out soon, and we'll already be out by the time this video comes out, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got a notification of an article that it says that apparently the lead showrunner came out and said that they didn't even look at the games while they were making the series.
Oh, nice. Nice. It's always good to know. TV show based off a game, don't use a game.
Yeah, that makes too much sense. Why would we want to reference the source material of this video game series that we're trying to adapt to the television? That just makes too much sense here for us. I don't know why we would ever want to do that. But yeah, the more I see about this show, the more nervous I get. Like, I just
and then
get
everyone's gonna watch the TV show and claim to be a Halo fan.
Oh yeah, everyone's there's going to be a whole wave of people that have never ever wanted to get into the Halo series before, and then the second the show drops, they're going to watch and be like, "Oh my god, Halo is the bestest thing ever in the whole wide world," and it's just going to be infuriating because something. I'm curious to see how our comments about this age, because I guarantee the show will actually have been released by the time this video comes out, maybe even in its entirety. Who knows? But I can. Everything about this show just seems like it is scientifically concocted in a lab to appeal specifically to people who have never played the games. In fact, potentially even hate the games. Because it's like, why would you even say that? Like, legitimately, what would compel you to ever come out and blatantly admit to your fans that, hey, we didn't, these games you guys love that you're excited to see adapted on the TV? Well, I got some bad news for you, buddy. We didn't look at them even for a split second. Not even a little bit. We didn't even look at the games. We didn't play them. We didn't look at them. Nope, not a bit. We don't care about that at all, actually. It's like, why would you ever admit that unless your goal from the beginning is specifically to cater to people who have never played the games, and you want to entice them with the promise of, oh, so it won't be anything like the games, huh? I might check this show out in that case. If I don't have to play the games to know what's going on, then maybe I'll actually give it a shot. And it's just. Here's the thing. My MO when it comes to adaptations is really straightforward, because a lot of people have issues with the new with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because a lot of elements about it have changed. Because, like, for instance, he's close with Tony Stark, and he gets the Tony makes him a new suit and a bunch of other stuff, and Uncle Ben doesn't die, and there's a bunch of stuff, and people are like, that's not Spider-Man. When if you actually break it down, the core elements of what makes Spider-Man the character that he is are absolutely present in the new MCU movies. It's just that I don't know. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but you know what I mean when it comes to that stuff. So
yeah.
I always say that you may be able to, even if you are able to convince me that it is a poor adaptation of the original comics that they're referencing from, what you'll never be able to get me on is that Homecoming is not a good movie, because Homecoming is a very, very well-written movie, and Far From Home is less well-written, but it's still got really tight character stuff and a pretty solid plot as well, even if it has some major issues. So, it's just like, that's my rules, that something could be a bad adaptation and a good story, and vice versa. Something could adapt something really well, but the thing they're adapting is just a pile of garbage. So it's two different conversations. So
yeah,
it's technically still possible for the Halo show to be amazing. Like, even if it doesn't take anything from the source material and it just tells its own unique story, it could still be an internally consistent, well-written story. But it just begs the question of, why are you adapting this if you don't want to pay attention to it, right? Like, if you just want to completely divorce yourself from the games in question, then why are you even bothering with them in the first place? And then you have a little light bulb moment go off in your head and you realize, oh, it's because you actually don't give a shit about anything in this regard, about the Halo universe whatsoever, but what you do care about is money. And it is a lot easier to sell an original idea than it is to sell... it's a lot easier to sell an original idea if you paste over it with the Halo code of... if you paint over it with the Halo art style and all the Halo assets, then it's like, hey, look at Master Chief, look at Cortana, who looks awful and makes me want to vomit.
Where's the checkpoint? Don't do this to me, game. Don't do this to me. Yes.
Yeah, it's what's it? You have all these things that people recognize in the Halo games. If you paint over if you paint over all the terrible writing, then people won't notice it. And I guarantee, it's just that's the vibe I get. I'm
stupid. I am.
Look, I don't want to hate this show. I'm a Halo fan. Of course, I'm gonna watch this show.
I'm so bad. I'm so bad.
I want this show to be amazing. I really do. I really, really want the show to be a respectful adaptation of the games. I want it to... Because here's the thing. It doesn't have to... Like I just said in regards to adaptations, it doesn't have to get everything right. It doesn't have to be this hyper-accurate adaptation of the games. It just doesn't. Like, you don't have to get all the minuscule details right, but you have to get the heart. Because the first Sonic movie, to kind of tie into what I was talking about earlier, that's not an accurate adaptation of what happens in the games. It's just not. Nothing about what happens in the movie is even remotely close to what happens in the actual games. But you can tell that the people who wrote that movie
sounds a little bit annoying.
Understand Sonic. They understand why people love that character and why they love that world, and they just put it on the big screen in a new environment. You can do that, and if the Halo show does that, I will be more than happy. If it doesn't have to get all the minor details right, it can go in its own, because it's not canon to the games. It's not canon to the games. It's in its own separate timeline, which frees it up to tell a story that is different from the games, to do its own thing. And if it does it well, that's fine. That's completely okay, so long as you do it well. But what I have a very, very sinking feeling in my stomach is going to end up happening is they're going to take all the superficial elements of the Halo games and they're going to paint over their shitty script that makes absolutely no sense, and they're going to try to show out to people as like, look at the Master Chief doing all these cool action moves and stuff like that. Look at Cortana being Cortana. Look at all these characters that you love so much. Don't you love Halo? Well, then you should love our show! And I just have this really sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. Just this absolutely horrible feeling in my stomach that it's just gonna... It's gonna be everything I feared and then some. I don't want that to be the case. I really, really don't, but... You know... Sometimes it just screws... I don't know. I have so little faith. I'm running out of ways. I'm running out of ways to say that I just don't have any faith in the people who make this show. But I suppose only time will tell in that regard. I suppose we'll just have to play the waiting game until we get more details about what this show is going to actually consist of. Because even the trailer that we saw didn't look... It just looks generic. It just looked like your average run-of-the-mill sci-fi show with really crappy visuals, especially in regards to Cortana. Like I said, look, people watching this video, you guys know I harp on the redesign of Buzz Lightyear in the movie Lightyear a lot. I don't think he looks good at all. In fact, I think he looks repulsive. But I will take that design any day of the week over the atrocity that is Cortana's redesign, because she actually makes me want to vomit. Like, when I say Lightyear makes me want to vomit, I don't...
These chieftains are really annoying.
I don't like looking at it. I don't like looking at Cortana's, looking at Buzz's redesign, because I just don't think he looks very good at all. But I actually want to vomit when I look at Cortana's redesign. It's repulsive. It's not on par with the Sonic redesign. Like, to be clear, or sorry, redesign. To kind of tie into what I was talking about Sonic earlier, the original design of Sonic was really bad. It was really, really bad, actually. I'm very glad listened and they actually changed the design because
skewer shots does it take to get this to the center of Bruce?
So it's not on that level. I guess uncanny is a better way to phrase it. It just looks wrong. It looks creepy. It looks so wrong in so many ways. I know it's not a very substantive argument to say it looks wrong, but I feel like you just looking at it, you can tell for yourself just how utterly atrocious it is. And I'm sure it's gonna look even worse in the show itself. I don't even. And like I said, the other reason why I don't really want to, why I want the show to be good is because I just don't want to, I don't have to make a video about it. Like, the amount of effort I put into my Toy Story 4 and Danganronpa 3 series, I'd like a break from tearing awful pieces of writing to shreds. Haha, can I get a break from just explaining how awful things are written nowadays? I'd like a break from that, please. Because it's going to be 9 episodes, and I'm probably going to have to go in-depth for a lot of it. Just scene, but especially if they do action. Well, I mean, of course, they're going to do action scenes. We saw some action scenes in the trailer. Of course, they're going to go down that route of making sure there's lots of cool action. It'll probably follow the Marvel mandate, where there's because Marvel has a mandate for their movies where there has to be, I think, 2 action scenes every single episode for their TV shows. So yeah, I'm sure it'll follow a similar mandate because you always gotta have action, gotta have that snappy, fast-paced action to keep people entertained. Because if you have substantive character development or slow things down even a little bit, then people might get bored. So can't be having that garbage in your show. You gotta have constant action to make sure people don't fall asleep. So, and I mean, Marvel has that for both action and joke. They have mandates for both making sure there's a lot of action scenes and making sure there's plenty of jokes to keep people engaged, which kills a lot of. It undercuts a lot of the serious moments in the scripts when you have a really emotional scene and it gets undercut. Like, I think the go-to example of this, I mean, obviously there's Endgame, where they go to visit Thor and you see he's clearly dejected and he's let go of himself after the loss and the failure of stopping Thanos in Infinity War. Undercut with the jokes of, haha, he's playing Fortnite, don't you like Fortnite? I sure know, I do like Fortnite too, it's great. But I think the one I like better is when, at the end of Endgame, when they're gonna snap everybody back. Spoilers, not that you should care, because it's been over 3 years at this point. By the time this video goes out, I should say. They're about to snap everybody back, and then Thor asks, you know what is cutting? Thor is gonna step up to the plate to be the one to snap his fingers. And it's a really important decision, you know? It's a really important decision to see who is going to be the one to snap everyone back, because it's a very physically damaging thing to use the gauntlet to snap everyone back. It's very physically punishing, and you have to be in the right state of mind to do it. And they go over how Thor is clearly not in a physical condition to be able to do this, and it's an important, heavy scene. And then Thor asks, "Do you know what is coursing through my veins at this very moment?" And then Rhodey says, "Cheese whiz," and it's like, it's funny, but like, it shouldn't be funny. This should be a really intense, important, emotional scene that you're undercutting with a stupid joke, and that's just the case for a lot of Marvel stuff. So many of Marvel's stuff just gets horribly undercut by crappy jokes. Even if the jokes themselves are funny in isolation, it's about the timing and the pacing and just when. It's about reading the room. Is this the right time for a joke or not? Because there's time. You can have a movie that has really, really funny scenes and really serious scenes. You can strike that balance. You can do that. It doesn't have to be a binary thing where it's one or the other. But you have to know how to strike that balance. You have to have the emotional awareness to know when's the right time to go for a laugh. When's the right time to keep everyone in high spirits, and when's the right time to bring the mood down a bit and get serious and grind yourselves a little bit. You as a writer have to have that awareness of when the right time is to do that stuff, and Marvel doesn't really care. And at least they used to, but not anymore. Now they have to have constant jokes and constant action in all their in all the shows. The shows have a mandate of two action scenes per episode, and I don't know what the joke mandate is, but it's clearly a significant amount, which is why it's just festooned all over the scripts, be them for the shows or the movies. There is no escaping the constant Marvel comedy, which is unfortunate because they really, like I said, I'm sounding like a broken record. It just doesn't It just doesn't belong in certain scenes. It really does not belong in certain scenes, but, you know, it's whatever. I guess it's just, I mean, to be fair, the MCU has way bigger fish to fry right now than whether or not their jokes are well-timed. There's way bigger issues the MCU has to address, starting with possibly the lack of free will. Thanks, Loki. I love you forever for erasing free will from the MCU. That's always my favorite esport that you did. I'm so happy you did that I'm so happy you killed my investment in the MCU with a single episode of a single 10-minute snippet of television. It's actually kind of impressive that you were able to so quickly erase any amount of investment I ever had in your universe. And all you had to do it was literally just erase free will. It's kind of crazy how that works. It's almost like making sure your characters actually have the ability to choose what they do means something, because if you don't do that, if you make it such that it's all been predetermined by the space lizards, then you might lose some people. You might, because maybe, just maybe, people were interested in the idea that these characters grew as people and underwent arcs of their own volition. They chose, based on their experiences, to grow and change as people. They didn't just have a space lizard say one day, well, I guess not say, but they didn't have their entire life scripted in advance by a lizard in the sky. So, yeah, that's nice. I love that I love where the MCU is right now. It's so great, because under the logic that the MCU presents, it means that no villain ever did anything wrong. Because how could they have? If Thanos didn't snap away half of the life in the universe, then he would have been melted by the space lizards. Of course. How can you blame Thanos when not doing that would have resulted in insta-death by the space lizards and him getting melted and his timeline pruned? How can you blame any Marvel villain for anything they've ever done when choosing not to do so would result in just melting by the... God damn it. I'm sorry. I said I was going to try to keep things positive to counterbalance the Conservatory, but honestly, the Conservatory went so well, I almost feel like I have to do the opposite balance, so... Plus, I just mean, I guess... I mean, I've already got... I was going to say I'm meaning to get this off my chest for a while, but I've already gotten this off my chest in many instances in the past, so... I can't even say I'm getting off... I wanted to get off my chest, but I guess I just want to have a rant about the state of a lot of things. My lack of excitement for the future of the MCU, my lack of faith in the new Halo show, and my excitement for the new Sonic movie, which, could you imagine? Imagine a timeline where Sonic is getting better cinematic treatment than Halo and the Marvel universe. Could you imagine that timeline? That'd be a hell of a timeline to live in. Oh well.
Oh my goodness. I can't aim. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Are you, by chance, fighting the hunters at the base of the spires by now?
That was embarrassing. I don't have my sniper anymore.
I'm going to assume that you're already at the base of the spire fighting those two hunters.
Yeah, next to it.
Okay, yeah, that's gonna be a tough battle.
Sir, I request you to accept this headshot.
Yeah, that battle can be a bit of a pain. Although honestly, I feel like the battle leading up to the spires is honestly harder than the battle at the spires, because the hunters.
Oh my goodness, this is a bad idea. Oh wow. Where's the other one? Interesting.
The red hunters are like, if they were red hunters, that'd be one thing.
Ouch.
But they're just standard hunters, so they're not as bad as they could be.
My wrist hurts.
Yeah, they're gonna be way worse. I think the road between the conservatory and the spire, especially just because of just the long range commando, sniper, and shock rifle brutes are what screw that, and the ghosts. It just makes it a really tough road to get down that point. So yeah, I think I would probably, because my plan is just to bring a team of Marines to the base of the spire and have them just wreck the hunters for me, as is usually my plan when it comes to fighting enemies like that. I just like to have a team of Marines by my side to make things easier. Although I must ask, I think you just beat the Conservatory a little while ago, based on what you were saying earlier. So, how exactly did you manage to get around that road of enemies so quickly to get to the spire? Because it takes a while to clear those guys out.
I went around them, and they're coming to me.
Ah.
As I'm killing these things. Like,
Yeah,
I took the mountain to the right, and they're kind of annoying.
Yeah, I was considering capturing Fob Delta first, and then just, you know, fast traveling there and fighting the enemy, like restocking there and fighting the enemies there. I think it might actually be faster if, well, maybe not faster, but I wanted to use the ghost to clear out everything down the road and kind of make sure it's a clean sweep so that I can clear it out as I go, rather than trying to backtrack my way up the mountain from there. So that's why I wanted to go the way of just running down by default rather than...
Where are all the fucking guns, man?
I'm still just happy that I made it to the, and for what that I made it to the conservatory as quickly as I did, and for what it seems like, it also seems like you made it to the conservatory at a very fast pace, which I'm very happy about. I'm glad the conservatory didn't give either of us too many issues, because those can be that thing can be quite a pain to get through, as you all saw during my Let's Play, and as you all saw during my live stream back in January, where I mean, this is the first time, because every other time I've played this game, after I finished the conservatory, it just killed my motivation to keep playing. Like, I've recorded a lot of Halo Infinite. When the game came out, I recorded the first four episodes the day it came out. The second it was installed, I recorded episode 1, and then I edited episode 1 and set it to render, and then while that video was rendering, I recorded episodes 2, 3, and 4, and then I went to bed, because as much as I wanted to keep playing, I was not going to destroy my sleep schedule again for Halo Infinite. But man, I wish I could have, because I just love the game so much. I still do. So then the next morning, I recorded from the tower all the way to the end of the conservatory, and that was the last video I recorded, just because it's so soul draining to do that mission, or at least it always was to do that. And then I did it again for my legendary live stream, and that was when I stopped the stream. I was originally considering going to do the Spire afterwards, because it's a pretty quick mission, but I just couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Honestly, all my motivation had just been utterly sapped from me because of how much pain. I mean, I managed to do the scrap cannon fight first try there, so that wasn't that big of a deal. It's just the rest of it that was just that coming off the heels of the fact that excavations I kind of kicked my ass more than it should have. But the point being, both times I've done this, both of those playthroughs, this conservatory has always been where I stop playing and then I just go to something else, because I didn't want to burn myself out on Halo, because it just drained me so much. But this is the first time that I've actually wanted to keep going afterwards, because the conservatory went surprisingly well for me, which I was not. I kind of assumed that trying to rush through everything would get me killed, just because more often than not, blindly rushing in and getting super aggressive will get you killed. But I guess I just was careful enough that I didn't have to worry about it. So that's nice, I suppose. I'm glad. And it sounds like you didn't have that much more of an issue than me. I think I still got out before you, but it seems like you also didn't. You weren't stuck there for as long as it took me to get to the conservatory on my live stream. So at least it wasn't a super painful experience compared to how it could have been, which is nice to know. But yeah, I didn't intend, by the way, for the topic of conversation to so naturally link together. I didn't open the video talking about Sonic and then intended to switch to talking about Halo to draw a parallel between the two. I didn't intend that at all. That was purely coincidental. I didn't actually, because I only just saw the news to further date this video even more, just so you know, this whole series is going to be so massively outdated. So many things that we've talked about, I guarantee you, are going to be so outdated by the time by the time I get done editing this, well, by the time we finish recording, and by the time I finish editing this series, so much of it's going to be so massively outdated. But, so, to further date it some more, I only just got the notification that the showrunner said that they didn't play the games mid-recording. So, yeah, I didn't plan to cover that today, but sometimes life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, and we found a way to tie those two things together very naturally. Also, on that topic, I sent it to Brooks during the cutscene, and I just got a message from him saying, wait, they're actually making a Halo movie? Which,
Wait, who sent you a message?
Brooks. He's the, you met him. You played Siege with him a couple times, in high school. I don't know if you remember that, but It wasn't when we were on Xbox. It was only on PC that you ever played with him.
I think so.
Yeah, so, oh, you also played with him during the Infinite live stream.
Okay. Yeah, I probably don't.
Well, maybe not. You may not remember Siege, but do you remember when we did the Halo Infinite live stream?
Do hunters eventually die when you just shoot enough bullets into them?
They should, yeah. They're just brute force.
Is it? I don't want to say his name.
No, it's not him. It's not that guy that you're thinking about. This is high school when it happened. Yeah, this was... Yeah, he was the guy who I debated Toy Story 4 with during the November 15th Halo Infinite live stream, if that helps.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
So yeah, that was that's who messaged me, who apparently has been oblivious to this whole thing, and then I sent him the thing.
Yeah, I remember him.
I sent him a thing about the Halo show, and he concluded, oh, it must be a Halo movie, which I guess is an interesting conclusion to draw, but whatever. It's Brooks. We don't really have high expectations. That's mean. I shouldn't have said that. We are friends. I should say, like, I don't hate Brooks. To my knowledge, he doesn't hate me. We just had a really heated conversation about Toy Story 4. I mean, I still stand by that he had a very dumb case to present. But I don't hate him. He just says a lot of dumb things, which is fine. You're allowed to say dumb things. He still came through for me in a lot of instances. We're still friends. So I don't wanna percolate the myth that I just hate Brooks unequivocally. Just wanted to clarify that really quickly. Also, I'm about done with my my involvement here. I'm about wrapped up with my plan for this episode. This honestly went way better than I ever could have expected as far as my plans to for what I wanted to do today. They went way better than I ever could have imagined. So I am pretty much ready to wrap things up. If you are, whenever you get whenever you want to. I mean, I can go a little while longer. I still have some things to clear up here on my end, but whenever you are ready to close the book in the episode, I can also end pretty much at any time. And then we can start the next episode with us both going into the Spire. Because it sounds like we're at about the same rate right now in terms of our progress in the story. Because I made it through the conservatory in less time than you did, but you also went straight to the Spire, whereas I've been doing a lot of side stuff in the meantime. I got Pronto Squad, captured Fob Delta, got a Spartan Corner Cave, all of which is stuff that you've done already. So we're still.
I don't know how to take out hunters. I don't know how to take out ghosts. I don't know how to take out everything basically.
Well, so my strategy when it came to dealing with hunters is just like I said earlier. I bring a team of Marines with me, and they just let them do all. I mean, you know from our previous streams, my strategy always is just bring a team of Marines, give them heavy weaponry, and they'll pretty much do all the heavy lifting for you because they.
Near the hunters, I stopped fighting the hunters. I'm trying to kill a few of the ghosts that I left behind. Because I didn't want to deal with them. Yeah, shit, I left a lot of things behind. They have good weapons, so I'm just killing them currently.
The ghosts,
This guy shoots a rocket launcher at me and ends my suffering. Okay, no, he didn't.
I would heavily advise the, to kind of fall back to Fob Delta, I guess. Just because you can get a lot of good weapons there to kind of aid in your efforts. But specifically for the hunters, I would advise bring a team full of Marines and a Razorback, giving them heavy weaponry, preferably rocket launchers or volatile skewers are always a good safe bet at this point in the game, and kind of letting them go to town. They won't really stand a chance. I mean, you can take them out by yourself with just the weapons you'll find there, but you'll have a much better chance if you have a good team of Marines with you to aid in your efforts.
These rockets will work against the hunters.
Yeah, the rockets are always a good bet as well. Rockets are a safe bet when it comes to fighting off or facing off against hunters. That's the thing. There's a lot of different ways to tackle all the encounters, especially since it's an open world. I mean, I know this is gonna sound like a talking point for the marketing because well, it was a talking point for the marketing.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, so don't use a ghost against the hunters.
No, I would definitely not have advised that.
That was not a good idea.
No, that is a recipe for disaster. But this is not like a talking point, because it is, but it's true. You have more freedom in this game than you ever did before to approach all the encounters. There's so many different ways. The fob system grants you so many different avenues for different weapon combos, different strategies, different vehicles, different marines, all that stuff. There's so many different ways to play. So many angles
to kill these stupid hunters.
So many angles to approach the encounters from. It's just I am so thoroughly impressed.
So the rocket did absolutely nothing.
Really? Because the rocket has been.
Well, they're dead. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. The rocket is always a surefire way.
We could stop here.
Okay, cool. I guess we'll end the video here then. So, well, that was an eventful and productive episode. We both made it through the conservatory,
just
which is
to pick up the rocket. That's to kind of the right of there's a guy with a rocket launcher, kind of the right. I just nailed both of these dumb idiots. The rocket launcher and they died. So after a few more grenades. But
I will keep that in mind. Yeah, but we'll end things here, and then we'll start the next episode with him going into the Spire and me facing off against the Hunters.
Yeah, that was very painful.
That'll be it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time. Until then, this has been GamingMagic13
and GroupUnicorn71.
And I hope to catch you all next time for some more Halo Infinite Versus. Goodbye.